You said that I could open with some remarks, and I've left my watch at home, and I'm a minister, so they could get rather lengthy. I want you to set this day as a priority. That is something that I tell a lot of couples, that you remember this day and date. What's the date? July 10th. And in a year from now, when I ask you what day did we stand together, you will still be able to say July 10th. And in 100 years, if God were to bless you with that many years, I would expect you to be able to say that is the most important day. I want you to set that as a priority because the people that are here with you set this day as a priority. They wanted to be with you, to support you in everything that you do today. And you're putting your best foot forward today. This is a great celebration. There'll be great days and there'll be difficult days. And that's what marriage is all about. That's what relationships are. I took a run this morning, and it was just a beautiful morning, and I loved the smell of people this morning. I didn't plan on saying that until I got back. It doesn't make, well, not mine after running, but people were, it was fresh in the morning, and people had just cleaned up. They were putting their best foot forward, and they just, it was a joy to be out there with them. Now, by the end of the day, they're going to start to smell a little bit, probably. And that's sort of what our relationships are all about. We do put our best foot forward, but sometimes there's a kind of a smelly one back there that we need to put out. But that's what community is all about. And that is what I wanted to share with you, that I believe that God teaches us about living in community, living together, the two of you. Early in the scriptures, and that's my best source of reference, I think a lot of literature talks about community. I saw community last night while we were gathered together with your family and friends. But scripture from the beginning talks about human beings being created. If you remember the creation story, whether you're into that creation story or not, really doesn't matter. The creation story talks about everything that was created, and whether that's reality or story for you, all of this was created, and then a human being was created in the book of Genesis. And you would think that that human being would be rather happy because he or she had everything that they wanted. They had animals around, they had plants, they had food, they had every single thing that they possibly needed. But the story goes that they weren't set, that he or she was not satisfied. That individual human being was not happy. There was something missing, and that was community. Not community with the trees and flowers and birds and lake and all of that. Community with another person like themselves. And so that story tells us that God created a mate, a partner, a bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. And it's really a beautiful story because they're in love with each other because they're like each other. They're different, but they're like each other. And then God saw that it was good. And God saw that they were happy. That's what this crowd wants for you today. And if you look around, they're all shaking their head. Yes, we want you to be happy. We're praying for brevity on the minister's part for speaking, but we also want you to be happy. Later on in the Bible, I have a couple more stories just to point reference to. And Ecclesiastes, you remember Ecclesiastes? If you grew up in the 60s or 70s, there's a time for everything, a season under everything. That's in the 3rd chapter of Ecclesiastes. In the 4th chapter, there's a cute little scripture that says, 2 are better off than 1. Because they have better return for their investment. 2 can keep each other warm together. 2 can fight off attackers together. And then it talks about a cord of 3 being even stronger. And this is your cord of 3 here. For me, it is God in heaven, God among us, that strength, so that we can look beyond ourselves. We strengthen each other, but then we also are strengthened by those that surround us and that spirit that surrounds us. Now, I said I had one more story from the Bible that I want to refer to. It's from 1 Corinthians 13, and if I had a raise of hands, people probably know that. And someone once said that 1 Corinthians 13, that's that love text where Paul talks about love is this and love is that. Love is patient, love is kind. Yeah, I know what it says. But somebody once described that as a passage as really a good passage, until the wedding industry turned it into the love shack of the New Testament. Now, you'll never hear that scripture the same way again, will you? But that particular passage talks about community. It said you can be everything, you can have everything, you can be on the top of your game as individuals, but if you don't have love, you're nothing. You are nothing. And so you are both just extremely, I've had a little time with you to know that you're intelligent, you're good looking, and you're lovable people. People like you. They want to see that you're happy. That's as individuals. Imagine what strength and power you have together. And that power, that strength is so necessary to keep community because you protect one another in community. The world doesn't always want you to be happy. They want you to spend money. They want you to succeed individually in your work. And success, that's all good stuff. But to keep your marriage together, that means you have to keep watch on each other's back. Now, quickly, did you see the movie The Blind Side? Do you know what it's about? It's a story about Michael Orr, professional football player, and he was an inner city kid. A family took him in, and he became this great football player and all that. But The Blind Side, the essence of the title of that movie is that the guy's job was to protect the quarterback's blind side. Now that's kind of what relationships are all about. You're going to keep each other's blind side, your weaknesses, your pains, the things that really hurt you. You're going to watch out for that other person. You're going to watch their blind side. But I have a message for you and for anybody else who dares to enter into a relationship, that in marriage itself, in your relationship, in a good community, even of more people than just two, there are no blind sides. We show ourselves. We show our strengths and our joys, and we also show our weaknesses. There are no blind sides. We'll protect whatever there is from the society and the world around us, but there are no blind sides. You have to show each other your weaknesses. The Apostle Paul, the same guy that wrote 1 Corinthians 13, said, when I am weak, then I am strong. Does that make sense?